What's up, Wholesale Nation? This is Undrea King.
Andy Speed.
And today we got a quick kind of show for you today, but we wanted to talk about leveling up.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've been to our meetup, first Monday of every month, look forward to seeing you guys. We go through a couple of case studies where we open up exactly what happened, from marketing all the way to closing the deal, finding the buyer each month. But it's not very often. And a case study came up in the last couple of weeks of a deal that came in March of last year that just closed, and we got our butts kicked on it. We pride ourselves on operational excellence.
Right.
There's nothing that we're not going to share in our business and how this works. We're going to beat you out through better operations.
Right.
So, little backstory on this deal. So 327, we got a lead in from a lady that had inherited a house that is getting up in age, had some health issues, wouldn't be able to fix it up. It didn't have the money to fix it up or resources. So she called us. She wanted to sell as is. She wanted $50,000. House is in a very popular area here in town in Pasadena, Texas. So it's a great owner finance area, great landlord area.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally we jumped on it. Call came in 327. First availability was 4-3 to meet up. So we sent one of our acquisition guys out, and he met with her, validated it was a little bit worse than what she had said over the phone.
That's surprising.
This house has been coined the smelly house by a couple of investors here in Houston. So neither one of us saw it.
Right.
But looking through the notes in our CRM, we did a phenomenal job following up with this lady.
Right.
I think we could have been a little bit more competitive on the offer. We offered maybe a little bit steep. This was in our acquisition guy's early days, and he was a little bit conservative. You'll find where you land as I've learned that I'm a little bit conservative on repairs.
Right.
That I need to kind of adjust for that in my offer to maintain competitive edge in price. Of course, we don't compete on price, but I do need to be conscious that the flipper in me comes out when I'm doing repair estimates, and I like to maybe adjust a little bit of extra contingency in there on behalf of our buyer.
Right.
But so what do we have here?
So like you said, the follow-up was good on this one. However, at one point throughout that follow-up process, we lost contact with the seller. Her phone was disconnected.
We'll get there. So 4-3, we had the appointment. 4-6, we followed up on our offer. 4-9, we followed up again. 4-13, followed up again. But what's interesting in here, and it's all come to light a year later, that when our note on 4-9 is that she's going to the doctor. So called and talked to Cindy again. She has a doctor appointment today and isn't ready to make a decision. She apologized for dragging it out and asked us to call back later. What we didn't know is that while we're talking to her, calling her to follow up on our offer, another wholesaler was out there taking her to the doctor.
Interesting.
He actually went over there, picked her up. He said he had to get his truck detailed because it smelled so bad after the whole ordeal. But he was there trying to solve her problem. She didn't have a mode of transportation. So his way of following up was getting in her ear all the way to the appointment. I mean, and you can't buy that kind of rapport.
Right. It's hard to compete with that kind of rapport.
Yeah. We're done at that point. If he's even anywhere close to us, that's how you get contracts for less than what somebody else is offering. But it goes on further. 4-13, we talked to her again, and she's still not ready to make a decision. Follow up. She asked us to follow up in 1 to 2 weeks. So we didn't know, but one of our competitors, a good friend of ours, had already taken her to the doctor. There's no chance that we're going to compete with this guy now.
Right.
But what we didn't know is 2 weeks later.
But wait, there's more.
2 weeks later, her phone was disconnected. So we have on May 29th and 10-9 more follow-up, which we're doing a great job. We probably could have followed up a few more times in there.
Right.
But I guess this got switched up into the periodic follow-up, just check in every now and again, follow up in our system. And, for everything that we show, we followed our processes.
Right.
But what we didn't do is we didn't level the heck up.
Right.
This guy, Alex, was taking her to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened was he lost contact with her as well. So he couldn't connect with her. Once her phone was disconnected, there was nothing that we could do. But a year later, we find out that the guy that actually got this deal and wholesaled it for $20,000 that offered $15,000 more than us, is he went and bought a prepaid phone, boxed it up with a note that said, hey, I saw that your phone was disconnected, thought maybe this would help you out. By the way, if you'd like to use it to call me, this is Chris. We met. I made an offer on your property. But, no obligation. This is for you. Sounds like you may need it. Guess who got the deal?
I'm beginning to believe that Chris would have gotten that deal.
Man, that's phenomenal. Of course, Chris got it. There was nobody else that she could sell it to at that point.
Right.
That guy solved not only her problem of being able to give her, a great offer on the house. He also solved the problem of not having a way to contact anybody. So she's only going to use that phone to call Chris. And I mean, for you guys, I shared this with our sales team last week, and I want to share it with you guys because I mean, you've got to have that outside the box thinking if you're going to close at a high level.
Right.
So, and Andre's constantly on the follow-up. Like, so every week we're looking at our deals and did we hit our follow-up numbers? This is some closing that could only happen if you're thinking outside the box and you're thinking about that seller's needs. So it goes beyond the follow-up to really hit it.
Yeah. So, I take in, we've of course heard examples like this. This one was kind of an extreme example, but we had another one kind of the same way where I was listening to one of the guys that's in our mastermind, and we both use the same PPC guy. And one of the things that they did to get one of their better deals is the seller, they knew the seller wanted to sell, but they couldn't get the guy on the phone. So what did they do? They just went to the door and knocked, right? They took it a step further where everyone else was just calling, sending texts and doing whatever else you want to do for a follow-up. They took it a step further, went and knocked on the door. And the only reason why the guy said that they went with them is because they came to the door. All right.
Personal accountability, Andre.
Yeah. So you got to take it a step further.
For those of you that don't know, we do cover our core values. We've talked about them a time or two in our meetup, but one of our core values is personal accountability, and it's hands down my favorite,
right?
Which is in any situation, when you reach a barrier, ask yourself, what more can you do to rise above your current circumstances to achieve the results you desire?
Right.
And that's exactly what Chris did, one of our competitors here in Houston. That's why he's got the $20,000 wholesale check at the end of the day.
And we got nothing. But we got a dead lead now. I guess we changed it to dead.
We know it's solved. The problem has been solved.
At least we know it's not on the follow-up list anymore. But like Andy said, it's especially when, let's say that you have a tight budget, all right, and you're out here marketing, you need to be doing everything you can to be able to get the deal, to get the competitive advantage, right? Because when you have those other people that are out there and they're just blanketing marketing, right? They're just looking at numbers. Okay, I spend 3, 4, 5,000. I get this, and they just keep doing it over and over. Maybe you don't have that. When you don't have that, you should be doing it when you're at that level also. But really, you should be really doing it if you don't have that budget to really get out there. Is to doing the little things like this to see what you can do to help the seller, to win them over, right? And that's how you get the deal. Like you said, you don't have to be the cheapest deal, right? You don't have to have you don't have to have the best offer or the highest offer in order to win the deal, right? What happens is that at that point you have the best offer, right? And the best offer solved the problem, right? In that situation, lady needed at one point she needed to go to the doctor. That solved some of her problem, but still
he had us beat,
right? And he probably would have got the deal, but guess what? She can't call nobody because she ain't got no phone, right? So can't do it. So then he sent the phone, got it done. You got to take it to the next level in this business, all right? And that's why we call this leveling up. You got to be able to really listen in. We've done this time and time again with our sellers, whether we're taking care of, moving them out of the house to where we're sending movers to where we, I just give hats off to our transaction coordinator for one of the last deals that we did, just for being an ear. Poor Kayla had probably about 100 hours of phone call.
Yeah, it was something excessive. It probably wasn't 100, but
it was up there.
Hundreds of phone calls.
It was hundreds of phone calls where I know she felt like just not answering the phone. But this is what this lady needed in order to get the house done. She just needed someone to listen to her, right?
And 190 boxes to move her.
And 190 boxes to get her out the house. But yeah, she just needed someone to listen to her. And because we did that and went the extra step, that's why we got the deal. And even in that situation, we went up against one of the biggest competitors here in Houston. I won't give any names, but they had their marketing there. Their picture was there when we got there.
We're going to his networking event tonight.
But we went to, one of the larger, what do you call it? Homevester things. Franchises. Yeah. And we got the deal because we solved the lady's problem. Okay. And so what are you gonna do to go above and beyond to get the deal?
I would challenge you guys to think of opportunities to stick out from your competition, because at the end of the day, we're all the same franchise. Like, your brand does not matter. They remember people.
Right.
So the name of your company, your business card, your leave behinds, anything that you do does not matter. What matters is who you are and how you're going to help them. So if you take this as a challenge and ask, what more can you do to solve the seller's need or stick out amongst the rest? They need to remember you 6-8 months down the road.
Right.
They remember this guy a year later. So, but I know him. He's a very experienced guy in town. We're part of a mastermind with him. It's how I came across this information, but he's a memorable guy. He's gonna be remembered by the seller, and he's gonna relate to the seller.
Right.
So you've got to do something to stick out. You don't have to get all flashy or crazy or anything, but you have to solve their needs and do it in a likable way, because people do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Right.
So do something to stand out, guys. Listen to your seller's needs and meet those needs, and you'll close more contracts. So appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll keep it short, but challenge you guys. Do something to stick out.
Level up.